It's a morning for playing that, I think. If nothing else, we are Opsimath and Eremites. Come on, Will. Opsimath, Eremites, what do you think?
Well, they're a couple of elves, aren't they? Them in Middle Earth.
I've seen Lord of the Rings.
Actually, it wouldn't be a bad double act, would it? Opsimath and Eremites. Will Self's good enough to be with us. Most mornings, if you tune in, if you think who's that, that'll be Will. Will joins us.
In the corner of the studio.
I was saying earlier on, hopefully not in a too disparaging tone, I said, well, the man's got to watch out here, because you don't want to get like Stephen King and knock out these books on a 2-monthly basis, otherwise people may take you for granted. Did that ever cross your mind, or do you have no control over these?
No, people already take me for granted. It's tireless work I do for this society and culture.
So if this is a compendium, though, yes? This is a...
Yeah, I mean, they come along, don't they? You know, right, the stories were written more or less between 98, actually, in this year, so one of them's very old, and I rewrote it, and I wrote the novella last year. So it's not an outrageous level of production.
But you say you rewrote it. Is that allowed? Or shouldn't you just say no? That's how it was.
Well, it hadn't appeared between hard covers.
All right.
It had appeared in the newspaper, so it wasn't definitive. And I wanted to come back at it. It was a story about London, actually, and I wanted it to be about a London that was changing. And you know the way in cities where you walk by a corner you've walked by thousands of times before, and there's a 15-storey mirror-clad building on it, and you think, where the hell did that come from? It's just the removal of a 10-foot-high hoarding has drawn your attention to the fact this behemoth. It's a very common urban experience, and I wanted the story to have that unsettling feel of the way that the city erupts around you.
True, exactly. The other day I was down in Lewisham, which I'm sure I'm in once a fortnight, and Britain's largest police station has opened there, and I literally stood there on the pavement saying, well, when did that go up? I mean, it is absolute. I mean, Cheeseman's was there. That was Cheeseman's department. Now, I was aware Cheeseman's had shut, but to bring down that building and put up the largest police station in Europe, like you say.
Yeah, and then one of Britain's largest police came out and nicked it.
That would be something, with just one police.
In his arms.
Just one police
like
with
a baby.
Oh, hang on, give me my dictaphone over there. Idea for short story. The police are embodied in one large police. This, I think, would be... That'll be something. And so what is this? What's it called?
Dr. Mukti and Other Tales of Woe. What's the specific story?
No. The actual book is called
Dr. Mukti and Other Tales of Woe.
How do they do the books? Well, I mean, seriously, how do they do it? How do they know? I have no experience.
You can buy a photocopy of them down Balance Road. 25p. They do all right. They do fine.
A person can make a living. I mean, you're pretty much towards the top of the shop, but a person can make a living as an author?
I think literary fiction is always that you've always got to have another job. I mean, you can live like a sort of relatively impoverished GP.
Yeah. Okay. But there's still kudos, though, I take it, in it, in certain...
Oh, massive kudos. Tweed suits, all of that.
Yeah, even though these stand-up comics seem to knock one out of, alarmingly easily, it's still, I suppose, being an author is still something it counts.
But they knock those out in the form of a sort of novel screenplay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think we discussed this before. I mean, you do seem to write in a very pure sense. You don't have an eye to the screen adaptation, which is quite unusual. Or do you actually think?
No, I don't have an eye to the screen adaptation. I mean, even the book that I wrote that I re-novelised out of the screenplay I'd started was hopelessly uncommercial. I mean, when my wife saw the screen direction, they form a conga line of buggery, she turned to me and said, you realise this will never get made. Yeah, that's one of mine.
Brackets underneath after Woodhouse. No.
Yeah.
Really, so but is that intention? Do you curl your lip towards I mean, you earn a crust out of film as well. Is it because you can't do it, or you have a distaste for it?
It's a sort of CJ moment. If I've got, I didn't get where I am today by pandering to a market. On the contrary, I got where I am today by doing exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So, all of the success I've had has been a result of writing exactly what I wanted to write.
Have you no interest in kind of an independent film with all the kind of dread, honesty, and I don't know, the cobweb that comes with the face?
Well, I'd love it. I mean, I'd love it if somebody came along, and some of the stuff has been optioned. Some of the stuff's been optioned by Christine Vachon. Who's the director who made things like Boys Don't Cry in the States, but it's just never come to pass. You can't.
And that's fine if it happens, but it's certainly not the engine that drives the machine. It's not.
No, I mean, Martin Amis once said, "Don't believe they made a movie till you rent the video." There's just no point in the writer getting bound up in it, because there's so many kind of, meetings and men with sleeveless anoraks.
Also, there's never a guarantee, is there, that you would be able to write the screenplay? I mean, this is what happened with Jeanette Winterson in The Passion, in that she was lined up to write the screenplay, and then, sort of halfway through the project, they decided, no, we don't want you anymore.
I always think one of the great lines of modern cinema is in Barton Fink, when he disappoints them so terribly, and the studio head says to him, look, we could have asked anyone to give us a Barton Fink script, but we asked you. That's just about it, isn't it?
That is the quintessential movie of a writer.
Oh, without doubt. Without doubt.
It's true. It's all true, all of that.
Oh, yeah?
Well, if you talk to writers who've got tangled up in film, book writers, that many of them have been mauled irreparably. They come out with sort of mangled by the
and they think it's going to be an easy buck and a quick buck until they sit down and their soul suddenly steps outside their body and says, I want nothing to do with this as well, because there's all of that, of course, sitting there and thinking, should I be doing this, etc., etc.
Well, you're sitting with people, I mean, no offence, whose main qualifications are in accountancy, and they say, well, I don't like the ending.
Yeah.
But it's a wrestling movie.
That's the great thing. It's a Wallace Beery wrestling movie. Let us never forget that. Yeah, Will Self's good enough to be with us, and you can see why. The door is always open in some quarters there. It's something, and I'm sure it's been run by you before. How important has we're not getting too deep dish, but I promised I would ask this one of the morning show. How important is the fact your name is Self? What role has that played?
Massively important.
When I woke up in the middle of the night last, I thought, Will Self tomorrow.
Yeah.
Self, and it's one of those it's a middle of the night conversation, and perhaps should have stayed there.
I often lie there thinking, what if your name had been Appleyard? How would that? Would you indeed be in a yard of apples?
I'm not going to let you away from it. Self is
quite uncomfortable thinking, what would those apples
But
feel
when
like?
you were 7 or 8, didn't you think, my name's Self, that's great?
I did actually, and it is a strange name, though it's quite common in North Norfolk, where it comes from. I mean, if you look in a phone book up round Cromer, you'll find a lot of Selfs, and actually they've filtered down to London over the years. If you look in the phone book, there's a lot of Selfs in the phone.
What did they call you at school? Did you have a nickname? Was there anything out of that?
Selfish, selfie.
Oh, yes, of course.
Whatever, all of that stuff. Endless ribbing and teasing, which has made me the sort of deeply flawed and resentful human being.
Good morning, everyone. Will Self's with us this morning. Give us it again. The title is Mukti. What is it?
Dr. Mukti and Other Tales of Woe. Dr.
Mukti and Other compendium. You can depend on out. Does it matter to you whether it's a short story? Do you know when you embark on something where it's a short story?
Yes, I do know whether it's a short story or not. Yes.
But you plan actually know where you're going once you start with something, because that's terrifying.
I don't with the novels. I tend to get up to around 80,000 words before I know the ending. But I plan it out.
Yeah. Okay. So Dr. Mukti will return to, or Mukti will return to in a moment now. So you're here. We're the BBC. What's the story? What do you think's going on?
Well, I think it's obvious that something very, very strange has happened. And I don't think we'll ever know. I think it'll be the Roswell of contemporary British politics.
No, that's a mighty mysterious invocation. But why?
There must be strange alien corpses laid out in a secret installation.
Do you think so? For the people to throw themselves on swords like this, you think there's something else? Is that it?
No, I'm afraid. I get out my old, trusty red axe at this point. I mean, I really think that it's a dismal whitewash. And I'm very depressed about it. I was really genuinely upset yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I was just on both professional and personal level with Greg Dyke, because I go back a long time and all of that, and there is a certain lightness in the step about when he was in charge, there's no doubt about it, and that spontaneous thing yesterday, it was quite extraordinary. I don't think it should be overlooked. But you feel that the whole thing is cockeyed anyway.
Well, this is how it works out. If at one level you say there was no conscious intention to mislead the public, it just so happens that the Joint Chiefs of the Intelligence Committee, conformed to what it was that the government wanted presentationally at that time, then I think you could say the same thing of the Hutton inquiry. I don't think there's any, conscious intention on the part of Lord Hutton to mislead the public, but I think that there is he's come up with the goods that are required in an unconscious manner,
But I mean,
it's a deeply establishmentarian, deeply, conservative with a small c effort on his part to sort of shore up the idea of the legitimacy of the British government at a time when, frankly, it's quite rightly seriously undermined.
It's seriously undermined. Are you surprised, though, that it has resulted in the 2 resignations so far? I mean,
I think it just shows that they were honourable men. And, exactly as Greg Dyke said, I thought that his closing email yesterday was a masterful bit of at once folksiness and leadership.
That's what he's always had, of course.
Yeah, well, he said, I want to effect closure on this for the people who are in the organisation, and I think that's an entirely honourable thing for him to have done. You know?
It is, and it's perhaps the most wounding, if it can be wounding, because it's saying, okay, you want to play this game with a so-called straight bat, this is where it'll...
But funnily enough, the sort of flip-flop, before the report came out, a lot of people were asking me, and I talked to foreign journalists, and I'm out and about, and saying, well, what do you think the prospects are for the government? And I said, well, it's hold below the waterline. But it's going to take a while to sink. When the report came out, it's all, we've patched up the hole, it's going to be fine, the ship sails on. But within 24 hours, you can see that the hole's beginning to open up again.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of going into politics yourself? I could see you as MP for Vauxhall.
MP for Vauxhall, replacing Kate Hoey.
Yeah.
Well, of course, she's been sports minister.
Yeah.
And what sport could I be minister of? Jogging to the ashtray.
No, I suspect it has crossed your mind. It must be, you'd never take action upon it.
Not with my form.
Well, come on. With your form, there's Liberty Hall up there these days. In fact, it could work for you.
The only time I seriously considered getting involved in at all was when Malcolm McLaren pulled out of the mayoral race a few years ago, and I was so annoyed with him because I thought we needed a candidate that was flamboyant and different and outside the political loop. I thought there was a requirement there. Because of the very nature of the mayoral office and its limited power, that there needed to be something demonstrative going on there in politics.
Would you have the curiosity and the stamina, though?
No, absolutely not.
That's the thing. When you
meetings about meetings.
Yeah.
I think you have to have a crude desire for power.
Yeah. But is that the problem? Those who seek high office will be the ones who are disbarred from holding it.
Yes, absolutely. And the old Athenian system of deciding on government posts by lot should be reintroduced.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Or possibly by roulette, which would make the change up.
That would be great.
We're throwing out some ideas there. I'm sure certainly Channel 5 are gobbling up at the minute. How do you survive outside of London? Sorry, you strike me as someone who's got to be at the centre of, never too far from certain areas. Did you get out and about much? You don't seem a very rural person.
I've tried hard to move out of London. I started trying to move out in the late 80s. And
why?
And why? Because I think a lot of true Londoners, I'm deeply ambivalent towards the city. I love it and I hate it, and I feel that very passionately. I wanted to get out for that reason. I also didn't want that feeling that I was going to sort of live and die within a mile of where I was born. I was born in the old Charing Cross Hospital, right bang in the centre of town. Yeah. But I found it extremely difficult. I began to feel exiguous and sort of wavery outside of London.
Are you very good? As I was going to say, are you very good when you are away for any length of time? Do you have to get back and...
I have to come back and sort of plug into the grid and recharge.
Inevitably then as people do, they say, well, with that New York, that always seems to be the racy alternative.
I'm half American and now, courtesy of Home...
Are you half American? I didn't know you were half American.
I hold an American passport.
Like Joyce Grenfell? Well, you like that?
I'm very like Joyce Grenfell in more ways than one. Some ways they're very surprising.
Your dad American or Mum American?
My mother was American.
Where from, was her?
She was born in Columbus, Ohio, and she grew up in Long Island, and lived in New York for a long time.
I promise you, I'm not going to ask you to do it, but you can do a passable American accent if you need to.
Why, certainly.
Yeah, that's nothing one thing nor the other. You're not never supposed to prove, frankly.
Isn't there a moment, though, when you sort of I don't know, sometimes I get this when I go over Waterloo Bridge, and you just think, wow, I live in London, how fantastic. Do you get those moments walking around the city somewhere that
is just before Will answers, say yesterday morning when it was still snowing, and I came out, I come across about 5:10, and it was still quite blizzardy coming over Waterloo. It looked magnificent. And you really can't help but think in cinematic terms when you're coming across it. It just looked like you just wanted, I was driving the car, but I slowly panned the head from left to right, fortunately in time for the Holborn Tunnel. But yeah, beautiful. Do
you have those moments?
I get that a bit, but to tell you, in fact, we were driving over Waterloo Bridge the other night, and my wife is a Scot who's, she said, this is an amazing city, it looks beautiful, and I sort of went, here's Kingsway Tunnel. Yeah. And I tend to get it at a human level. I do like the people who live in the city, and I'll have one of those mornings when you have a run of sort of chirpy, interesting, or cynical conversations with a variety of people, and I think because you're a Londoner, you have that direct rapport with the conductor or the guy selling you your paper, and I think I love this city. Yeah. I love the people in it, and I love their attitude.
Having even a minor blip of profile, if we're getting terribly indulgent in this. I like cab drivers when they go, "Oi, Baker!" I like that. I feel totally in the fabric there, and I've got to say, even though, you think of it...
It's an urban thing, isn't it? Because, I have a friend who lives in Newcastle, for example, who has exactly that absolutely could not conscious moving out of it because he's part of it, part of the fabric of it.
It's what I hate about the concept of Village London, which I think is an estate agent's invention.
You've seen it down here with Village Marylebone. There's a Marylebone Village written on the wall.
You see, as far as I'm concerned, the whole city is my village.
Yeah.
I don't care whether I'm in Barking or Bexley Heath. It's sort of it's all the same to me.
I don't draw lines there, I'm afraid. I genuinely don't like certain areas of London, which I won't say because their figures are on the up and up. But there are certain areas I really don't like. Just one second, I better do this because poor 19-year-olds out there are getting a lot of response, as they would do to one of my sillier sallies about are there more uncles and aunts in literature and in film life, and they're getting a lot of the same ones. So they've asked us to clear up where we are at the moment. We need no more Uncle Arthur from Dad's Army, Uncle Tom Cobley, Uncle Ernie, The Who, Uncle Monty and Withnail and I, Uncle Albert and Only Fools, Man from Uncle Buck, Uncle Fester, Uncle Remus, Uncle Bulgaria, Mark and Ealing's Uncle Bob. But not just having Mark and Ealing's Uncle Bob. Why was everyone ringing in with their uncles? No, it's got to have some profile. Uncle, the pawnbrokers in EastEnders. All right, I'll have that. Uncle Tom's Cabin, Uncle Silas, Uncle Quentin from the Famous Five, and the South Park. Yeah, the South Park song, let's just leave it there. Uncle Bessie, Aunt Sally the pub game, Auntie Beeb, as in the Beeb, Auntie's Bloomers, Auntie Mabel from Bod, the Antichrist. What's the matter in 1919? I was getting giddy out there. James and the Giant Peach Aunt Sponge, James and the Giant Peach Aunt Spiker, Auntie Mabel, who my daughter calls Auntie Label from, Come Outside, the children's show, and of course, Bertie Wooster's Aunt Agatha. Those are the ones we need no more on. Let's think about other
Charlie's
aunts. Charlie's aunt. We'll put Charlie's aunt on.
Auntie Mame.
Auntie Mame, yes, Aunt Mame, second day running, Mame.
Travels with my aunt, granddaughter.
Travels with my... Yeah, come on, now, this is unfair. I mean, we're in a pub quiz, we've got Will Self on our side. Me and Will Self on the same team. That'll be that then. Thank you very much. Right. So tell us, let's return to the tome over there, whose title, again, I've forgotten, like a child within moments.
Dr. Mukti and Other Tales of Woe.
Giving something a title, and we were talking about this honestly about an hour ago, and I said how lazy rock groups are when they don't give albums titles, because they're frightened to reveal too much about themselves, like Chicago. Although Chicago, they went Chicago 1 to 21, then gave an album a title. At least hold your nerve. They go 22 and actual title. Are you in charge of things like that, or is it put upon you?
Oh no, I'm in charge of titles.
Are you?
Oh yes. Titles are key to me.
Yeah, and so, okay, so how carefully do you choose them then? And do you
I think very carefully. I think about a title a lot because it's in the pre-writing of the book, it's what shapes the way in which I move towards the book.
And character names and stuff, do you agonise, or is it just dragged off to school register?
I don't agonise a lot. They come unbidden, but there's an interesting development in literature recently, which is a lot of charities have started auctioning characters in novels so that you can sort of pay out a lot of money to whatever it is, and you get your name in an author's book.
Really?
The character. Yeah.
That fascinates me strangely.
What do you think of that?
I don't mind it, actually. I know some people might find it really strange, but it doesn't bother me at all. And a guy, I was at a charity quiz, actually, the other night, and a guy bought a place in one of my books for really quite large sum of money.
You've entered this. You're doing this yourself.
Yeah, I've done it. I did it for the RAP, the Rehabilitation of
Addicted Prisoners. Did it work, so to speak? Did it fit the character, or didn't it matter?
No, this guy's name is just brilliant, but he doesn't really know what he's getting into, because I want him to be the sort of head of this mad, incestuous, backwoods clan. sort of, horny.
Hasn't there been a couple of class action suites recently where people have said, hang on, that's my name been used for reprehensible. It was always good for revenge.
But this guy's up for it, so he's
all right.
paid his wodge. He's in.
What about the images that are on your books as well? Because they've always have very striking images, and you used to be a cartoonist, didn't you? Yes. Are you in charge of the artwork? Do you have any influence on that?
And probably to the detriment of the titles. I take an obsessive interest.
This is unusual, because we've had people, and I think it was Michael Rosen, the children's author, and even Quentin Blake was in saying, I never know, I put mine into the melting pot that then the publisher puts together with the the poet or whoever they're going with. But he said, I've not a lot of control. He said, you don't in books, but you say you do. They're not trying hard enough.
Yeah, I try very hard. I mean, years ago I did a book called Tough Tough Toys for Tough Tough Boys, from the old Tonka Toys.
Of course, yeah.
And, I really wanted a crashed Tonka toy on the cover with the dead Action Man lying nearby it. And that's what I got.
Yeah. Did you? And just, we're winding up in time now, so let's go forward another 20, 30 years when you go a proper autobiography. Do you already have a title salted away? I do.
No, I really hope that I don't ride an autobiography.
Oh, you will.
I know. Do you think it'll come over me like a
You'll
strange
wonder that you
disease?
ever could have been so young to say something like that. Of course you will. And as you're entitled to do and deserve to do. You know, these partially are exciting times.
I don't know, it'd be something like, I wasn't incontinent.
That's it. What are the chances he had the same one as me?
I know.
What are the chances?
Slim.
No, I've got mine, and at the risk of it being but a phrase my dad used and you don't hear anymore, going off alarming. Going off alarming is a great title, and as my old man always used, you should have seen him, he's going off alarming, and I think that's such a great title, going off alarming, which now, of course, will be snapped up by somebody else. Give us the details, what have we got over here?
Well, we have, Dr. Mukti and Other Tales of Woe, a collection of short stories from Will Self. It's published by Bloomsbury. It's out now.
And it costs?
And the cost, it's a very healthy $15.99.
Cheap.
Hey,
That's seductive.
And it's-
how many stories are in there? How many stories are in there?
Oh, there's 4 stories and a novella.
It's 4 stories
Also,
in a
and a novella.
And it's hard, but get in there. You don't want a dog-eared paperback that brings down a house.
No.
Houses with paperbacks.
And it's got loads of little self-contained red bookmarks.
Oh, that's a
I'm
beautiful.
Which is
sure
enough
we
on
insist
by
on it.
itself.
Always a pleasure. We'll make it 5, or is it 4 next
Thank
time?
you,
Thank you
Derek.
very much.